Hey guys, what's going on? It's Blaze here coming at you with a brand new video. And today's video is obviously the most anticipated video of pretty much this year, obviously. Today is going to be the tank tier list that you guys have all been waiting for. This time I'm going to do it in two parts instead of one. The first part is going to be for the Race World First and kind of my, opinion picks or kind of what I think is will be good for Race World First or what we maybe might see during the Race World First, what tanks will be played, and just my pretty much optimistic look at it and kind of RNG dice roll to kind of see maybe I'll get lucky on what they're playing. The second video is going to be about for casual players, for what tanks you should be looking at playing, which one's going to be easiest to play for Dragonflight, and what is going to better be the best tank for you to play if you're looking to get a guaranteed raid spot, kind of ordeal. So if you're interested in that, please check out the second video of this, okay? So right off the bat, we're going to start right off into it. Alright, so right off the bat here, guys, we're going to kick off with the obviously tier list. I'm going to kind of go over it. So we have obviously our Demon Hunter, our Brewmaster, our Bloody K, our Tank, our Prot Paladin, and obviously their Guardian Druid. Alright, so right off the bat, guys, the first one we are going to be doing is obviously the Anime Watchers, the Giga Chads in that form, alright? So right off the bat, I'm going to give you guys some good intel for the Race World First that we already have seen. So we all know that Echo has a new tank. In case you guys didn't know, Roger Brown is going to be going into that tanking spot. We've already had some intel leaked over by GG. We've already had it leaked, okay? So we have evidence here that somehow that Golden Guardians have found out what Roger Brown actually will be playing. It shows right here, he's a big fan of Crunchyroll, and we all know, as a Venus Demon Hunter, what you usually do is you mute the raid leader, and you crank up the Crunchyroll volume on the other screen all the way to max volume, and you ignore everything that the raid leader says, and you're just blasting, Attack on Titan, maybe you're watching, Black Clover, or the new anime Chainsaw Man, you're just blasting in your ears, you can't hear anything else, because why do you need to hear anything else when you have cheat death built into your talent tree already? So why do you even need to hear what someone else is calling out, because you can't be killed anyways? So from this evidence, we do kind of get an idea that possibly Roger Brown might be playing Venus Demon Hunter from this leaked tweet, obviously done by the Golden Guardians, okay? So right off the bat, guys, that is instantly going to put the Venus Demon Hunter into S tier. And I actually, in all seriousness, here we go. This is a serious part here. In all seriousness, I really do believe that we're going to see Venus Demon Hunter played in the Race World First. And the reason why I'm saying this, actually, in real serious note here, is a lot of you guys don't know that Venus Demon Hunter's toolkit has grown exponentially since BFA, since Shadowlands. It has exploded in utility-wise. You now have Vengeful Retreat. You still maintain your double leap. You also are gaining magic damage reduction. And for those that don't know how much everything added up is for magic reduction, you can actually get up to 45% magic damage taken reduction if your tier set is proccing, if you're getting your Painbringer procs, as well with the Void Reaver, as well as with Illidari Knowledge, and then you can even get higher than 45% with the tier set proc. You can go all the way up to around 54 to 55% damage reduced from magic attacks if you have your sigil on them. So literally, guys, we're talking about a 54% magic damage taken reduction on a tank. It's just unheard of. It's insane. So we have that. Also on top of that, we already know they bring Chaos Brand. We do know Havoc Demon Hunter might be played. It's still kind of looking decently. But obviously, the tier set, the two-piece that Venus Demon Hunter brings, very good. It buffs your Factual / your Shear by a ton. Your Spirit Bomb gets insanely buffed. And on top of that, Venus Demon Hunter also this time around, for the first time ever in his life, is bringing a raid cooldown in the form of Darkness. Okay? 3-minute cooldown if you get this talent. That is a huge deal when it comes to creating raid comps, especially for the Race World First. You're bringing in a tank that's bringing a raid cooldown. You're bringing a raid debuff. On top of that, you also have a Fear if you need it. You have an AoE Silence if you need it. For something like Broodlord, when there's a lot of casters, having a 1.5 minute silence is pretty much a really big deal in that kind of case, or you know, something like that. Or maybe we could even see some fear used, possibly, if we need to fear some of the ads in a corner on Broodkeeper to just keep them off of the raid. Or maybe we see Echo maybe doing some cheese strats where the mobs are in a corner, they're all feared in place to where they don't have to deal with them, and maybe they chain CC them, get some CCs going, that sort of thing. Also, on top of that, they have buffed them to where their soul fragments are constantly healing them. You have the Fel Devastate. And there's a new thing, guys, that a lot of tanks talk about, or maybe you guys don't know, but Demon Spike's window is terrible in BFA, and obviously going into Shadowlands. When your Demon Spikes fell off, you kind of got trucked, and that's just kind of a known thing for Demon Hunter. Well, Blizzard has addressed that problem, and they have literally made where your mastery gives you constant armor. When you pop Demon Spikes, it is even more improved. So that is going to reduce how much damage you're taking constantly from physical attacks. As well, they have a new talent to where you're getting the reduced damage when you pop your Demon Spikes. Demon Spikes will fade away. This passive reduced damage taken is going to be popping, which goes from 10% all the way down to 1%. If you pop Demon Spikes again while this is going, this actually goes with it. So you can have your armor with the parry chance going from Demon Spikes, and then also have this damage reduction going. Right? So that little correlation there is pretty big. Also, on top of that, you're bringing Firebrand and keep yourself alive. Also, you're bringing fantastic movement speed and obviously fantastic damage. So for that reason, and with all the mobility, with the utility brings with Sigil Chains, maybe for Dethia, Urnog, something like that, the first few bosses, or even Broodkeeper, we could see Sigil Chains used there to kind of group up the ads whenever you go on the platform of Dethia, kind of group them up to help out your DPS, burn them all down, because once again, for Race to World First, pretty much it is about, you know, helping the raid improve the damage. How much damage can the tank bring? How much utility can a tank bring? And how much can you help the raid achieve its DPS goals? And obviously, Vineyard's Demon Hunter has no short of hitting every single one of those hits. So for that reason, I am going to be putting it at S tier for that reason, guys. Okay, next, we're going to talk about the infamous Brewmaster Monk. You guys already know Brewmaster Monk is by far the greatest Race to World First tank in history. I mean, I look back at a few YouTube videos from Liquid and from Echo, and even going, you know, to Method and, you know, Sonic's Imperative, and my God, Brewmaster is overrepresentative in the Race to World First. It is literally almost played on every single boss, whether, like, you know, maybe Liquid doesn't play it, right? But then Echo plays it. Or maybe Echo doesn't play it, but Method plays it. Or you know, it's just constantly there in the Race to World First. So, and in case you guys don't know, maybe you're not really familiar with tanks or whatever, the reason why this is an S tier tank, until Blizzard changes this, purely due to the fact of Stagger. Stagger, when you're undergeared, simply allows you to live mechanics that would otherwise kill you during the Race to World First, allows you to live a mechanic that you shouldn't have lived. You literally should not have lived certain mechanics as Brewmaster. And that is why they're going to be S tier. And we're kind of going to take a brief look at the talent tree here, because there's a lot of classes out there. We know DPS and healers sometimes, you know, losing your Covenant, losing your tier set, it feels terrible for some classes. Brewmaster, on the other hand, has gained power. I know it's crazy to say. You're losing tier set like Blood Decay, right? They lost their tier set. Oh my God, Blood Decay is unplayable. Not Brewmaster does not have this problem. Let me tell you something. They have gained immense power to where they have become Blood Decay's 2.0. Just a better version of them, right? So I'm going to go over and explain that for a little bit. If you go down the left side of the tree here, okay? Let's just say you go down, right? You go down the left side of the tree here. You are going to get this build going here, okay? It's kind of wild. I'm not going to lie to you here. Let me get this over here. Alright? This is kind of what it's going to be looking like. Alright? Something like this. Obviously, I have to adjust a few things here. Obviously, but you guys get the general idea. This build right here is absolutely insane because it becomes Death Knight 2.0 and Brewmasters have gained so much power. By power, I mean, look at this. You are now gaining Bomb and Weave, which was the same talent row as Dampen Harm. You are now gaining both of those talents, okay? On top of that, you're gaining Diffuse Magic, which you never had. And one of the big things that Brewmasters has struggled with was magic fights, magic raid fights. You now have Diffuse Magic. On top of that, you're also gaining Profound Rebuttal. You're also gaining 8% healing to 10 yards. All allies within 10 yards of you are taking 8% increased healing from you. So once again, what are you bringing? You're bringing Mystic Touch. You're bringing a raid buff to allies. All the melees getting buffed, more HPS. On top of that, you're also giving him 4% avoidance, which reduces how much damage you'll be taking from AoE attacks like Mythic Taros. Alright? And then also on top of that, you have become a Blood Death Knight. What I mean by that is, if you go ahead on the right-hand side of the tree over here, and you go ahead and you're taking Imperial Brew, you're healing yourself constantly, and then on top of that, hold on, give me a second here. This one, Strength of Spirit. When you are low HP, you become that Blood DK. As soon as you get trucked down, instead of you waiting to get healed up, you pop your Expel Harm, and now you're topped. It has literally become a Blood Death Knight, except you're not as yo-yo-y as a Blood Death Knight. Why? Because you have Stagger. You have Stagger. And then on top of that, you're also gaining your powerful legendaries. You're gaining Charred Passions, tons of damage. You're gaining Exploding K if you need, maybe the boss is trucking you, need to make sure the boss misses his attacks on you. You have that. You have your Brew, which is reducing how quickly your cooldowns come off, your brews come off cooldown, so you can literally sledge your brew more often. It's just, guys, Brewmaster will be played in the race row first. It is an S tier tank. There's no question. There's no buts about it. Stagger is even more powerful than it's probably ever been in all the expansions. With just the way it's working right now, with how much power Brewmaster has gained. Also on top of that, their tier set. Every time you attack a mob, you are literally reducing how much damage they deal to you. Like, what? Just constantly. Spinning cranking, attacker palming. You were just reducing how much damage that mob hits you for. Constantly. That is why Brewmaster will be played in the race world first, and it is going to be S tier, guys, for that reason. Also, do not sleep on Zen Meditation. I know you might not be able to get the movement speed one to be able to move while casting it, but this spell has been used, and has been used hundreds of times during the race world first on certain mechanics that would otherwise kill the other tank, and you've lived with Zen Meditate. Alright, we've seen it on Jeller, we've seen it Mythic Sylvanas with the Withering Arrows, we've seen it on Sire Denathrius. Like, we have seen this bad boy used, and I think a lot of players out there, they sleep on that ability. Alright, next, guys, we're going to be jumping over into the Blood Death Knight, okay? Blood Death Knight obviously is going to be in that A tier category. Some of you are saying, what? Rune weapons completely nerfed? Why are you even putting them in that category? You're trolling, Blason. You're actually KEGW. Calm down. And I will explain why it's going to be an A tier for the race world first. Okay? And don't forget something either, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to tell you a story right now. I'm going to tell you a story. What's going to happen during the race world first. You guys can say, hey, KEGW, you're making it up, man, whatever. Listen for a second. Okay? Listen. Right now, we're at the hotel. They're gaming. They're at the convention. Liquid's blasting. They're in lead. We're blasting right now, right? Atlas gets done with raid. He goes to sleep. He wakes up to go to the gym before his raid. Guess what happens? While he's waking up, he's about to get out of bed. He looks up. He looks at the closet door. And guess who opens that bad boy up? It's the damn Lich King. Lich King opens up that door. Open up the closet door. He says, Atlas, you're going to be playing Blood DK for the race world first within the next 2 to 3 bosses. And Atlas goes, despair. But it's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. It will happen. So keep your eyes on the race to the first, because we will see this great looking man. He might be playing Blood DK, because the Lich King has foretold his destiny. So keep your eyes out on that. Anyways, let's jump into why exactly Blood DK is going to be A tier and why Atlas probably will be playing him in some format eventually during the race to the first, okay? Somehow he'll end up getting trapped with it. Okay, here we go. Right off the bat, guys. Some of you don't know, we have Death's Echo. This solves the problem for Blood DK with their lack of mobility. Before, they literally couldn't move. They have 1 Death's Advance, 1 Wraith Walk. Well, guess what? Blizzard gave them Death's Echo. That gives you 2 Death Grips and 2 Death's Advance. Now, guess what's happening to you? You're not getting knocked off platforms. You're immuning knockbacks. You're moving, which makes it easier for the raid to hit the boss if you're immuning knockbacks so the boss doesn't move. On top of that, you keep an A-bomb limb, which you mean, if there's A-bomb limb, there's probably fights that you need to grip some stuff, right? And plus, Blizzard's giving you 2 grips, so that should be a clear sign there too. Also, on top of that, you have Wraith Walk, right? So you have a ton of mobility, right? And you have the good old AMS. AMS allows you to ignore certain mechanics that would otherwise kill other tanks, or make it harder for the raid to maybe a spread mechanic, like on Jeller. You get AMS to Torment, so now people can stand on top of you. Things like that. This ability lets you ignore those certain mechanics. Right, mainly, the fights that I'm talking about here, the reason why Blood DK most likely will be played for the race to roll first is Erdnog, the very first boss. I know some of you guys are like, there's no way, man, you're so capping here. Actually, no. Ads spawn on Mythic. They spawn on Mythic super quickly every time you drop off your fire pits. And playing Blood DK, you are able to run, obviously, Gorfiend's Grasp. You're able to do that one time. You're able to A-bomb limb. And also having 2 grips is very helpful. Also, on top of that, you also get the Grip of the Dead, which slows them if you need to group them up better. So for that reason, you're definitely going to see Blood DK possibly played on the first boss of Vault of Incarnates. The other boss that I guarantee, unless Blizzard changes it, the boss fight for Dathia, the last time I did testing and I watched some other people do it, and when you go up on the platforms, all those ads are able to be grouped up together. So unless they change it on Mythic to where those ads are no longer grippable, which I think would be a kind of sad thing. But anyways, on Dathia, if you pop Abelum, you can literally group them all together. The next platform you go to, you can Gorfiend's Grasp them all or grip one at a time and group them all nicely to better help your DPS kill all the ads. On Broodkeeper, it is very nice to be able to pop A-Bomb Limb in the corners if you're tanking some mobs and group them all up nice and tight for you if they're running all over the place, or maybe, you know, you can backpedal a little bit, have A-Bomb Limb grip and add over so it doesn't cast something if you're low on kicks or something, because, you know, Boomkins aren't tanking Solar Beam anymore, so we're going to be kind of down on kicks here, ladies and gentlemen, so we're going to have to improvise with some grips from the Blood DKs, okay? So, with those kind of things in mind, and with AMZ obviously then bringing a raid buff, I do really think they're going to be in that A tier category with obviously them being played on certain bosses. I'm not going to sit here and say they're played on every single boss. I do not see that happening during the race for first, but I do see them played on at least 3 or 2 of the fights in Vault of Incarnates, and possibly even played on the last boss, depending on what we see when Liquid and Echo get there. We really don't know what the mechanics look like, but we could see Blood DK even played on that fight as well. So for that reason, it is going to be the A tier because of the insane utility that the Blood DK brings for the race road first. Is huge for DPS increases, okay, to help you kill bosses quicker. Right. Next, guys, is going to be the Prot Warrior. He is going to go ahead and be in that B tier. I was going to put this guy in S and A tier. I really wanted to. Prot Warrior mains out there who's cheering on. Hopefully we get to see in the race world first. Hopefully we get to see Warrior, you know, Prot Warrior, every single boss. I really wanted to, actually. But, unfortunately, with the power of the other 3 and the utility that bring, maybe we'll see it. Maybe we'll see Prot Warrior on 1 fight at most. Maybe 2 if it's a big physical boss, like maybe Grim Totem if he smacks really hard. But it's just the power of Brewmaster and the power of Vengeance Demon Hunter. I just don't see it. And with them removing the grip ability of Heroic Leap, which is I was really despair about. I just see it sitting at B tier currently. But what I'm going to talk about a little bit, why I think Race World First might play it. One of the guilds, you know, whether it's Method or whether it's Echo, might play, or even Liquid, might play this on one of the fights to help their healer group stay alive. Possibly, we could maybe see 2 Prot Warriors if it's like they want to make sure 10 people have a 20% DR. I very highly doubt that happens, but it is probably something that's been talked about before. So I'm kind of go over how it works, guys, because a lot of you watching the video may not be familiar with how it works. So you have Avatar, which is a 1.5 minute cooldown. You then have Anger Management, which reduces it every single time you spin Rage, okay? Next, you're going to have the thing called Unmovable Object, where whenever you pop Avatar, it's going to proc Shield Wall. Oh, that's great, right? Here's the best part. If you go ahead and get the Shield Wall talent, and then you go ahead and talent into Unbreakable Will, what's going to happen is it's going to pop Shield Wall on all 5 of your allies in your party. So it's going to give it to the 4 of the people with you. So let's say you're grouped up with like 3 priests and like a evoker, someone who's squishy, right? Like an S-priest or something. What's going to happen is whenever you pop Avatar, it's going to give all your other members, they just got nerfed by 5% because Blizzard probably saw it was kind of insane. So, but it gives all your members 20% damage reduction. And with Avatar, it's a 4-second damage reduction for 4 seconds. If you do it with Shield Wall, it's actually 8 seconds. So it kind of changes. But what this means is, if there's like Mythic Terror, so it's a big damaging phase coming out, it's going to be tons of damage coming out as soon as you break the pillars, you can Avatar. Instead of using it for damage, you can use it for defense. Avatar, and now your allies have a 20% DR for 4 seconds. Or let's say you need a Shield Wall, you Shield Wall yourself, all of your allies will gain a 20% DR for 8 seconds. All of your party members. So you could put it in like a group of like squishy players and kind of keep them live. I don't think we'll see the 2 Prot Warrior to min-max the 20% DR for, you know, for the 10 players that they have. I don't see that happening, but, you know, anything is possible in the Race of the World First. However, though, Prot Warrior, the reason it isn't B tier, guys, is because it does bring a lot of interesting mechanics just like that, like the Shield Wall I talked about. It also brings Rally. We know Rally is like a one of the best DPS raid cooldowns in the game by far. It's the entire raid team. It gives them 15% more stamina, which pretty much lets you survive mechanics that otherwise would kill you. On top of that, they also bring an AoE kick, which, you know, maybe we see it used in Broodlord. It is a short cooldown, 1.5 minute. It locks them. It's like a silence if they get it while they're casting on the Broodkeeper on the little ads. You know, AoE kick, so that could be used. Also, they have a spell block, excuse me, which blocks, you know, all the spells coming in right here. 1.5 minute cooldown for 20 seconds. I don't think it's that much of a big deal, but, you know, between the Shield Wall, the rallies, you know, the AoE kick, the AoE silence, excuse me, and, you know, with the Avatar constantly popping, maybe we see it used on one fight. I wouldn't get too excited about it, and honestly, I was kind of thinking this would be cool. You know, Berserker Shout, your whole party could get their fear removed, but there's been no fights that fear you, so this is kind of like whatever too. So for that reason, I am going to be putting in that B tier. We might see it used on one fight. Prot Warrior mains, don't get your hopes up for the Race War First. You probably won't see it happen. You'll probably see these 3 bad boys, okay? Next is going to be the Despair. Okay? Prot Paladin is going to be in that C tier, guys. Prot Paladin did get a nice little buff. They did get the B-Res that they never had before, which is really nice for utility. But unfortunately, Race War First, what do you have? You have 3 to 4 boomkins always. You always have 3 to 4 boomkins. So do you really care about a B-Res? No. Who really cares, right? So there's that. The only thing Prot Paladin does bring to the table that I think is probably worthwhile here is that they do bring spell warding, okay? They do bring spell warding, which no other Paladin can bring that. So for spell warding, if like maybe they're struggling on a soak mechanic, like Grim told him, he does put like a soak thing that you need to do, or even on, you know, Council, the council fight, there's a soak mechanic you have to do. You could, you know, spell word the guy if there's a pain point there. We could see that used, but unfortunately with the nerf to Avenger Shield, with that not generating holy power anymore, just the lack of, like, just starving for holy power, and obviously you having to stand and consecrate constantly to keep your defensives up, it just doesn't, and it just brings no raid utility besides, you know, the auras, you know, devotion aura, which you know we're going to see Dryny. We know we're going to see a holy paladin in the raid. There's just, I just don't see what planet we don't see. Even after nerfs today that happened, holy paladin is still looking very strong, so I just don't see protection paladin played for that reason. When you can have, you know, a darkness buff, insane damage, almost unkillable, you can bring 8% healing increase taken and 4% avoidance, and you can bring an AMZ. So, like, with this combination, like, I just don't, like, where does this fit in the tier set on top of that too? The tier set for this guy, like, gives avoidance, I mean, gives versatility, but like 4% or like something like that, but like, I think 8% healing and 4% avoidance is a lot better to have than, you know, a little versatility. But that's just my personal opinion, guys. I will be shocked if Holy Paladin is played on, I mean, Protection Paladin is played on every fight. I'll bite my tongue at that point, but I just don't believe it will happen. We might see a one fight, guys, but obviously these are just my kind of predictions, okay? Next, guys, it's going to be the Guardian Druid. Guardian Druid, unfortunately, you know, we thought in SFO, I thought we would see it in the race world first because of the Carrion Boon. I thought we would see it. You know, I was cheering it on. I mean, even in my tier list, I even put them in S tier in my tier list, you know, when we were back in SFO. Really cheering it on, that Guardian Druid. I even leveled a Guardian Druid to 60, thinking, you know, this is the Guardian Druid's time. Unfortunately, for Dragonflight, guys, it's the same situation that happened in SFO. There is no dadgum raid utility. They bring a raid buff that Boomkins already bring. They bring Innervate. Boomkins already bring that. And they can't even get over to Typhoon, guys. Like, if you look here, Typhoon is on the other side of the planet. So you probably aren't going to be getting a Typhoon. And you're probably not going to be getting Ursul's Vortex, really. Because it's so far over to the other side. The only thing you might get is probably, you know, the buff to Stampeding Roar. And really, with having Evoker in the party already giving, you know, taking off cooldowns of movement speed and all these things, and I just don't see you needing Roar that often, as much as, you know, all of this stuff is implying. And with that, I'm just really sad, guys, about Guardian Druid. I'm a big fan of Guardian Druid. I don't really like playing as one, because I don't like staring at a bear's butt all day. I really wish they would give you Ancestral form, kind of like they do for Boomkins, to, you know, let you play bear form without that. That would be nice. But for that reason, guys, unfortunately, I do not see Guardian Druid played at all during the Race to the World First because of the lack of raid utility. I just think it'd be very hard for the Race to the World First to really give up, you know, 8% increased healing for your raid or avoidance for people near you to bring a Roar and a Typhoon. Unless Blizzard within the next 3 weeks or something gives Guardian Druid a, you know, a raid utility, then things might change, but at the time, I just don't see that happening, guys. I just do not see that unless they change this to, like, Carrion Boon, and we gain that ability, and it's like a big damage increase or something for a DPS. But as of right now, this is going to be the compiled finishing tier list for the Race to the World First prediction, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe, and please leave your comments down below if you have, you know, different opinions, or if you think, you know, Prot Paladin's going to be played. You think that's going to be S tier for the Race to the World First. Go ahead and put that, guys. Keep in mind, the next part, you'll be able to see on the bottom left of this video, you will be able to see part 2, which is going to be the casual players, what you should be looking at playing tier list. All right, guys? So thank you so much for watching. I deeply, deeply appreciate all your guys' love and support. And with all of you guys helping me along the way, I would not be, you know, a partner Twitch streamer like I am today. And obviously, I wouldn't be as successful. Thank you guys so much for supporting me and everything that I do. And thank you for changing my life completely. Thank you so much. Big heart to you guys. I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much.